Welcome to Spiritual Talks. I am your host, Gerald, and we're going to jump right into it. Today, we're going to talk about a really, really amazing topic that I feel needs to be talked about, which is you are not your job. You're not. When I meet people, the first thing they do is they tell me what they do versus who they are. And I know a lot of times we spend so much energy, time, and money and investment on creating a job, a career, a way to make money, right? But we forget that our identities are begin to be wrapped up in that. And that can cause a real distortion between your career and you as a person, right? Because they're two different things. Who you are is not what you do. Who you are is much greater than what you do. Your earning potential is just that. It's your earning potential. It doesn't mean that you're a good mother. It doesn't mean you're a great father. It doesn't mean you're a great wife. It doesn't mean you're a great sister. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you're great at what you do. So don't get it confused when you think that your career is who you are. If you're a great doctor, a great lawyer, a great nurse, then you're great at that, right? But you still have to practice being a good mother. You still have to practice being a good wife, being a good husband, right? Some of the things that we do in life, our jobs, our careers, some of those skill sets are not transferable. What does that mean? That means that what you do on your job may not help you at home. It actually may hurt you. Who knows, right? But some things aren't transferable, but you got to figure out what skill sets are transferable and then utilize those in your home, in your everyday setting, right? But don't get it confused of thinking that you're your job or you're your career. You are not. You're not your job. You're not your career. You are a human being. And here's the deal. You got to set time. You've got to set time aside just to be who you are. Right? And you can't do that when you're trapped in the identity of your job. Let's just say, God forbid, right? Everything's happening in our economy. The company gives you a call and they say, you know what? We're going to have to run lean this year, this month, this quarter. And that means you're fired. We're going to have to, we're laying people off. We're all of the jargon for you're fired, right? What do you do when every part of who you are is wrapped up in your job, the badge, the title on your door? So if someone takes away your job, your career, because your identity is wrapped in that, who are you when I take away your doctor badge? Who are you when you're not a lawyer? Who are you when you're not an accountant? Who are you if I take away your nurse's certificates, your RN? How should I address you? Who are you underneath what you know? Information prevents you from seeing who you really are. When you cloud yourself with all this information about your job and all of this, you think that all of what you know is who you are. No, that's just information that you use to do your job. I'm going to say it again. The information that you've used it to create an identity, but it should have just been used for information for your job. So don't use the information for your job and say, oh, I'm an accountant 24/7 in my mind. No, you're an accountant at work. You're a doctor at work. You're a lawyer at work. You're a nurse at work. But we have to practice being good human beings, being a good mother, being a good father, right? By taking the coaching classes, by doing the yoga, doing the meditation, doing the breath work, doing the cold plunges, doing everything you can to be the best person that you can be outside of your job. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to be the best person off your job, right? Learning shouldn't just stop at your job. You should be learning who you are daily. You should be focusing on yourself, learning who am I? What do I like to do? What drives me? Versus what is the company doing this quarter? How am I doing on my job? No, how are you doing with you? I'm going to say it again. How are you doing with you? You're really good at your job, but how are you with yourself? Your bank account is good, but how is your weight? Your bank account is big, but is your waist big too? Because you don't see the importance of both, right? So we have to make sure we're allocating our time and our energy towards things that are going to magnify the overall goal, which is you being a better person. But you can't access that if you're trapped in this old framework, right? So what's the point, right? You've got to do what works. You've got to change it, right? Even if you don't change it, you're stuck there. Yeah, you're stuck. And that's a bad place to be in, right? So don't think that what you do is who you are, because it's not. It's just that. It's a career. It's a job. It's a skill set, right? So take what you do and say, I'm really great at that, but am I good at other things? Am I good with time management? Am I good with my emotional intelligence? Am I good with my temper? Am I good with my freaking kids? Like, seriously. Like, just because you're good at what you do doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you really good at what you do. So practice being a good person just like you practice being really great at what you do, right? You have to practice doing both. You're not going to show up just like with your job and career. A lot of us has worked time and spent energy and money, and we've allocated all of that stuff, and we've got to a point. You have to do that in your personal life too. So take just as much tenacity as you have going after and achieving your goals financially with work and all that. Make sure that your health and your mental clarity is just as important as your freaking job. Make sure it's right there, right? Just as if you're gonna stay late, make sure you get up early and go to the gym, right? You can't give your job more credence than you do your own personal life. Your job is not more important than who you are. It's not. You can't be the best person that you need to be if your job is the most important thing in your life. How is that even possible? If your job is the most important thing in your life, how are your kids coming first? I read a quote the other day that says, the only people that will remember that you worked late were your children. I'm going to say that again. The only people that will remember that you worked late will be your children, will be your wife, will be your husband. So don't get so wrapped up in your career and your accolades, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I don't think you're going to want any of your little certificates and your trophies and your medals wrapped around your bedside. You're going to want a human being, a daughter, a mother, a son, a husband, a wife. Your career can't hold you. It can financially keep you up, but it can't mentally and emotionally be your everything. And I'm going to talk more about some stuff like this, about us using our dogs as emotional support for our own emotional support, because we don't know how to manage our emotions. So we get a dog to transfer the emotional energy of us not being emotionally stable. That's not the dog's responsibility. Anyway, your career is not you. You're not your career. You're not your job. So stop it already, and stop telling people when you first meet them what you do, because that's not who you are. No one really, unless you're going to network and like that's what you're doing. Why would you tell somebody initially anyway, hey, this is what I do? No, who are you? And then tell me what you do. And right? That's what's more important, that I know who you are, not what you do. Right? So focus on making sure that just as much as you are a great professor, a great nurse, a great whatever you do, make sure you're a great wife, make sure you're a great sister, a great husband, a great brother, a great father, a great mother. Make sure that you're great at everything, not just at your job, right? Makes sense, right? Make sure you're not just great at having a good credit score. Make sure that you have emotional intelligence as well. You see how, right? Just saying, right? Your career isn't everything. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? So share this. Maybe somebody needs to hear this. Maybe you needed to hear this, and know that you are not your job. You're not your career. They're two different things. So stop confusing the two with your occupation and your earning potential with your ability to be a good human being. They're two totally different things. Just because you're a great nurse doesn't mean you're a great mother, etc., etc. It doesn't mean that, right? So you're not your job. You're not your career. Share this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Until next time, I'll see you guys soon. This has been another episode of Spiritual Talks with Drill. I'll see you guys soon.